Thank all of you who created this center of inclusion, this welcome table that welcomes all of God's children here. I'm so glad to be a part of today, to be a part of the service. I must say though, like Zoe, I had a little scare with Zoe when she said she wanted to get married, I have a wedding band, and Britt had to tell me that she meant a band, musicians. I thought she was trying to sell her a wedding band. What's wrong with her marriage? That was very good news. We come to this world as children of delight. We come radiant beings, children of love, children of God. We come to a plane where most have forgotten, and they impress their forgetting upon us because one can only extend that which one possesses. We come brave and glorious souls, each and every one of us, because we have answered the call to come to earth, to end the dream of darkness. We come brave adventurers on the holiest of missions, to shine away the darkness by being the light, to represent the God of love in all situations, to anchor the spirit of life eternal in each of our temporal experiences. We come to be the holy bridge between heaven and earth. We come to be the holy channel through which unformed, essential spirit makes its way into manifestation and expression for a time that is temporary and for a purpose that is eternal. We come to create, to play, to learn and to grow in this classroom, playground world. We enter here innocent, brilliant, capable, and divine, and forgetting fell upon us, impressed on us in myriad ways by those who had themselves forgotten. Yet, this too serves its purpose in the plan. For to consciously remember the light increases the light. This we have been told upon responding to the call. Forgetting serves remembrance. The illusion serves the truth. The temporal glorifies the eternal. Crucifixion gives rise to resurrection. And the human experience gives birth to the consciousness of divinity. All of our journeys through the realms of apparent darkness are rather like mining expeditions, wherefrom gold and diamonds and other treasures are brought forth. And so, we come. You have to be taught to hate and fear. Have to be taught, you have to hear. It has to be drawn in your dear. You have to be carefully taught. You have to be taught to be afraid. People whose eyes are differently made, people whose skin is a different shade. You have to be carefully taught. You have to be taught before it's too late. Before you are 6 or 7 or 8. To hate all the people your relatives hate. You have to be carefully taught. You have to be carefully taught. Yes, you have to be taught before it's too late. To hate all the people, the members of your race, your culture, your religion, your political party, your class, your sexual orientation, your any single subset within the full set of humanity. Yes, you have to be careful. Talk. I'm so grateful to be in New York in the immediate aftermath of a large group of people who, in my impression, make New York so fascinating and exciting. Be able to have rights that every human being on this planet. These are beyond human rights. These are divine rights. I'm so grateful that this occurred. When I was a little boy growing up in the Pentecostal church, there's a song we sang. It's a song I think that is a song that is not directly sung by members of any group that are ostracized, any group that are disenfranchised. We were colored people at the time. So we sang it as colored people, dreaming of a time when we might be included at the welcome table in the United States of America. The song was, I'm going to sit at the welcome table. I'm going to sit at the welcome table when we stay. I'm going to sit at the welcome table. Sit at the welcome table when we stay. It's a song that everyone on the outside of the circle sings. You know, a few weeks ago, we were honoring the freedom riders. We were honoring all those who gathered together, not just African American people, but there was a huge number of the Jewish contingent that joined in. There were a lot of Protestants. There were people of every different path who joined in, who realized now's the time for African American people, black people, to be included into the welcome table. And I am so proud of what they did. I'll tell you what blew me away, though, decades later. That was when some of those very same people who had applauded the success of black people being able to be included at the welcome table, to some measure, chose to get in line and march against the rights of gay people, lesbian people, LGBT people, for their rights. It broke my heart and made me sad. I watched on television the rallies against the rights of human beings outside of the circle of inclusion. The same thing their people went through. Some of them were at an age where they themselves went through it, what it feels like. I've said before, I got it from some show. I don't remember the show. I only watched it to hear one line. Freedom is like oxygen. Those who have it don't even seem to notice they have it, while those who don't are dying for lack of it. When I observe these things, it causes me, Carlos, to look at my own life. I know what it feels like to be outside the welcome table. I've always known I wasn't a regular guy. I knew it from the time I was a wee little lad, or like me and Timothy joke around, and I look at Tim and say, as a wee little lad, I was a bonny lassie. It's true. You'd find my brother on the ball field, you'd find me playing tax or jumping rope. So I knew that I was a different person, and I was aware and attentive enough to know that there was a little box that boys were supposed to fit in, and that when you fit outside of that box, in the 50s especially, you were mentally ill. You were perverted, and especially in the church system, you were an abomination to God. Some of you know that I had the secret I was holding of being abused. I also had another secret, which was a prayer. God, please make me normal. Please don't let me stay perverted. Please, I don't want to be mentally ill. Please, I love you, God. I really, really am saddened by the knowing that who I am is an abomination to you. All I want to do is please you. I knew when I was 12 years old that I was, I guess, what people call a bisexual. I found that out watching Dr. No. I looked at Ursula Andress coming out of that ocean. And she stirred me up, body, mind, and soul. And then I watched James Bond, Sean Connery, walking up the beach in a pair of sheer pants. And I went, wait a minute. The same thing happened when I looked at him as happened when I looked at her. So while all my buddies were sitting beside me going, boy, it'd be great to be with her, I was sitting there thinking, it will be great to be with them. All my buddies nudged me, can you imagine waking up in bed with her next to you? And I went, I go further, but we don't know how I'm going to talk about it. I'm imagining waking up in bed in the middle of Ursula and Sean. Any of my friends. They made little cards, like bubblegum cards, you know, like baseball cards. My brother had a ton of baseball cards, and I had my cards from Dr. No. And I slept with one of a scantily clad Ursula and a scantily clad James under my pillow. And I felt so excited and so guilty at the same time. I felt so happy and so scared at the same time. I knew that according to everybody's word around me, I wasn't supposed to be who I was finding out I was. I just did a workshop last weekend, and I had asked the people to bring in a baby picture or a picture of themselves as a toddler, and to bring in a more recent picture. It didn't need to be current, but a more recent picture that they loved. So there I am with a big baby picture, and it's this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed little kid. He is so cute. I love him so much. I work for him. That's who I work for, that kid. And for my return to being that kid fully. You can see that he is what I've just said, that he's a radiant being come to this planet. And you can also see that he is not yet aware that forgetfulness is going to be impressed upon him. The second picture I thought was when I first moved to New York at 21 and did a modeling assignment, and the photographer said, I want to get some pensive shots of you. Be pensive. So I was trying my best to be pensive, and he said, no, you still look a little too bright. More pensive. I tried to look more pensive. He said, no, you still, there's kind of some joy coming to you. And I said, well, what do you mean by pensive? I think it's more studious. But he said, think of something about you or life that makes you sad. And I thought, I'm 21 years old. I'm locked into being who I am. I have been praying. I have screamed at God. I have pleaded with God. I locked myself for a while into a soundproof closet, which was in my sister's room, and I screamed at God for months and months and months. Make me stop thinking about James Bond. And when it wasn't happening, I said, make me stop thinking about Ursula then. And that didn't happen. And I would say, God, put me on one or the other side of the line. I would rather be heterosexual because they are welcome at the table. But if not that,
I would rather be fully homosexual because they have their own little club too. But where I am is weird. When I tell someone who's straight, I also have these feelings about men, they tell me that's wrong. You need to change. When I tell my friends who are homosexual that I also have my urges about women, they tell me, oh my God, you're in denial. I had the cutest little boyfriend for about 2 weeks. He was from Providence, Rhode Island. His name was Emilio Paolo de Angelis. I hope he's alive and well somewhere. No, we were together for about a summer. And during the same summer, I had a little girlfriend who knew about my boyfriend, and he knew about my girlfriend. I was happy as a clam in whatever times were happening. But you know, we parted ways, and I lost track of him, and he lost track of me, and then he found me years later. And he found out, asked about Carlos in Massachusetts. Somebody told him the apartment. He rang the doorbell. I answered the door. We were so happy to see each other. He was so joyful to have found me until my 1.5-year-old son heard somebody at the door and came running in from his bedroom and grabbed me by my legs and looked up at Emilio and said, "Daddy, who is this?" And Emilio went from being happy to see me to looking at me with pity. And he went, "You're a breeder?" This is what I found. All of us are grateful to be received at the welcome table, but all of us have the capacity not to welcome others to that table. But none of this desire or willingness to leave anybody away from the welcome table is our true nature. It's stuff we were taught. Carefully, 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 carefully taught. And all of that teaching about I'm righteous and you're not, I'm godly and you're not, I'm good and you're not. All of that is self-righteousness, which is as far away from true righteousness as the East is from the West. A Course in Miracles says, Carlos, you can only be as close to God as you are close to the person you hold at greatest distance. I used to think that it was okay for me to ostracize people who ostracized me, for me to hate people who hate me. I'll start off loving, but if I find out you're hating on me, I will drop the torch of peace in a hot minute. Not because it's who I am, it's who you made me. So, you have to be taught to hate and fear. You have to be taught year to year. Has to be drawn in your gift. You have to be careful to be taught. You have to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are differently made and people whose skin is a different shape. You have to be careful to be taught. Yes, you have to be taught before it's too late to hate all the people, your race, your culture, your religion, your spiritual past, your class, your tribe, your subset within the full set of the one set of humanity. Yes, you have to be careful to be taught. My reminder for you today is no matter what you have been taught, that it's appropriate for you to feel separated from your brothers and sisters, regardless of who they are, regardless of how different they are, regardless of how different their choices. You can only be as close to God as you are to those groups of people and those individuals within those groups of people that you hold at greatest distance. God is in heaven and heaven is in you, and holy is your name. God wants you to know you have nothing to fear and that there is nothing and no one to blame. You've been informed. Your captivity is over. You've been informed. In truth, you're free. And so it is. Yea, new